So we're closing off section, I think it's section 2.1, categorical data displays. We're going to just put a summary here of everything we've done so far in this section. We talked about pie charts. Pie charts can only be used with parts of a whole. We made some kind of statement of what parts of the whole was, that each individual has to belong to one of the categories and can't belong to two of them. And that makes it parts of a whole. Pie charts are good at showing what part of a whole a category is. So if you see that like 1/4 of the individuals fall into that category, so it's 1/4 of the, you can see it because the pie chart will just show that a piece of pie that's about 1/4 of the size of the whole pie corresponds to that category. So it's good at showing that kind of thing. Not so good at comparing quantities or with many categories. You might have seen some pie charts with like 60 categories in them, tiny little slices. Seems like that's not very pretty or doesn't give you a whole lot of information because those tiny little slices, it's hard to tell which is bigger than what. And it's really hard to label them and all those kinds of things. So the graph tends to suffer if there's too many categories. And if you want to compare things that are almost the same size, you really can't tell in a pie chart if they're the same size or not. They're going to look the same size. And then we move on to relative frequency graphs. Relative frequency graphs, that's where the bars, the height is the percent of the observations that are in that category. In order for that to make sense, they also have to need parts of a whole. The data has to be parts of a whole. If created as a Pareto graph, so a Pareto graphs, you make sure the bars are in increasing or decreasing order. Relative frequency graphs can be used to compare quantities because they'll be side by side and you know the one to the right or left is bigger or smaller. There's a trend in the graph so you can tell which one's bigger and smaller. You don't have to squint your eyes to tell. For bar graphs, so here we are. Pie charts, relative frequency graphs, bar graphs. So just generic bar graphs can be used with all categorical data sets. We can arrange the bars in increasing order and make a Pareto graph out of it. So you can always take a bar graph, change it into a Pareto graph. Pareto style graphs make it easier to compare quantities. And then we saw at the end of the whole procedure, two similar bar graphs can be combined into one bar graph where maybe the bars are different colors, as we saw, so the trends or similarities in two data sets, similarities or differences, I suppose, in two data sets can be visualized. And those are the techniques that we saw in this section. And now I'm going to go ahead and try to piece all my videos together into one playlist over on YouTube and put this puppy to bed, I guess, as they would say. Would be done with this section's worth of videos. And we'll see you later.